let's get back to Tier 3 and see this large collection of names, because there's some guys here, Matthew, that, quite frankly, we don't know what their role is going to be out of the gate, and I think RJ Harvey fits that bill to a T.
Under Sean Payton, no team has more running back target share than the Denver Broncos. They're first. We know that Sean Payton likes to use the running backs in the passing game. So RJ Harvey, who some people pre-draft had just on the same level as Ja'Cory Crosky-Merritt.
Some people like Bill a little better.
A little better, but just to give you an idea of how good Harvey is, he's almost as good as Ja'Cory Crosky-Merritt. But, so I don't.
That's going to make or break me, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. 100%. You're all in on that
We're
one.
sitting on that one.
No, but that's a great call by you. I'm not letting that one go. I will say this about RJ Harvey. So I do think that's going to be the key to unlocking any fantasy value for him is his role in this offense. But I remain I don't have a lot of shares of RJ Harvey this year just because I don't want multiple Denver running backs. And I keep finding J.K. Dobbins to be an unbelievable value. I get the injury history, but Harvey, I don't know that they trust Harvey in pass protection yet. And I do know they trust Dobbins. And I do think that we know Peyton wants to use multiple running backs. And I do think that Dobbins is going to be the early down, goal line, short yardage back, as long as he's healthy. And again, just relative to cost, I'm not saying Dobbins is as good as Harvey, or even that he'll have as good a year as Harvey, but relative to cost, I think there's a very reasonable scenario where J.K. Dobbins becomes the better value this year in fantasy drafts when we look a year from now, in terms of what it costed to get Harvey, who was so buzzy, and Dobbins, who everyone has just sort of left for dead.
A lot of X content out there, Connor, on RJ Harvey not seeing running lanes. Do you buy that? Do you think
it was my number one criticism. I mean, if you have a guy behind Bill as RB13, I like Harvey's explosive. I like him in space, which Sean Payton is excellent as getting his running backs in space with the ball in their hands. But that's my number one criticism. I'm like, he bounces a lot of runs outside because he's a premium athlete that can get away with it. In the NFL, they're going to have to tailor his game so he doesn't do that as much. So, and Sean Payton won't live with that very long. Now, I don't think it's going to be a massive issue this year, but I'm with you, Matthew, that at cost, Harvey is very, very expensive right now.
Yeah, and by the way, they have guys there in Jaleel McLaughlin and Audric Estime, no, he's a draft exchange, favorite. But jokes aside, my point is there's enough running backs in that room that Peyton has confidence in that could not have fantasy value for us, but could take 5 touches here, that could take, a couple of targets there, and all of a sudden, just again, for where Harvey is going, I think there are other guys in that range that I feel better with,
Tony Pollard. Much rather have Tony Pollard than
I get
RJ
that.
Harvey.
Right.
Just know that he's going to be a workhorse starter for at least the first 4 weeks of the season.
All right, as we continue to go through Tier 3 here, a couple closing thoughts. As we got through Alvin Kamara, of course, we've talked a lot about RJ Harvey and Tony Pollard's role, but Treveyon Henderson, you're always looking for rookies that could pop, Matthew. Guys that are a little bit in a lower tier, but they have so much upside. It feels like Henderson is that guy because if he took over New England's backfield and the threat that he is in the pass game, the explosive threat that he is, he feels like a player in this range that could really go off.
He's my running back 18, and Canadian Scorsese says, is Henderson the guy most likely to be considered Tier 1 or Tier 2 next year in this range? Certainly,
I'd say yes.
I would say yes as well, because again, I think similar to a Jahmyr Gibbs type, he is not somebody that is going to need a ton of volume to be productive in this offense.
I agree.
He can be really effective on 15 touches.
So the other guy there too, if Kenneth Walker stays healthy for a full year in the Clint Kubiak offense, then next year he's drafted as a top 10 running back.
For sure. I will just tell you, I prefer I have a lot more Zach Charbonnet this year than Ken Walker. When I've gotten Ken Walker, I've reached for Charbonnet just because, again, combined we know there. But I'm nervous about the health of Walker. But I do, we'll get into sort of the insurance running backs, but Charbonnet is one guy that I have a lot of this year because I do really like him when he's out there as well. I don't have a ton of James Cook this year, as we've talked about. He made the hate list. 40% of his fantasy points last season came from touchdowns. We expect some regression there as well. One guy we haven't really talked about very quickly is DeAndre Swift. I'm not the biggest DeAndre Swift guy, but Kalman Onegay, who we really like, and we'll talk about here in a second, but he's been banged up. Doesn't seem like they love Roshan Johnson. And
I love Swift this year.
Right? It's a good offensive line.
Right.
Yeah.
He feels like a guy that you can get right outside the top 20 that'll probably safely finish RB16. And everybody's always looking around 20 going, who could finish in the top 10 for me and win my league? And I get it. You have to take picks like that. But if you get a running back early that you really, really like and they can carry your offense and you need a floor at running back, I think Swift is one of the best values at the position.
Yeah, if you just step back and he's the RB1 in a Ben Johnson offense with what I think could be an elite offensive line. So that's the sell on DeAndre Swift, and it's a pretty good one.
And they should throw to him this year. I mean, that's how the Ben Johnson offense should work for him. So if you're looking for a reception uptick, I think DeAndre Swift will give you that as well.
Hey, it's Mathew Berry from NBCSports.com and RotoWorld.com, and I want to thank you so much for watching whatever it is you just watched, or if nothing else, being too lazy to click out of the autoplay after this video started, after whatever it is you actually wanted to watch finished. But now that you're here, I'd like to take a moment here to ask you respectfully now, okay? I'm asking you respectfully to subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel. You'll get the latest RotoWorld fantasy news headlines, all sorts of great shows, including my own Fantasy Football Happy Hour. So go subscribe now. Again, I'm asking respectfully.